We're going to work on Bhujapidasana today, which is one of my favorite arm balances. And the reason it's one of my favorites is that it's the easiest one, if you have the hip flexibility, to get off the ground and balance in. Frankly, the floor feels a little bit closer too, so it's not as scary if you fall down. So Liz is going to do the full thing. Janice is going to modify a little bit. So you're going to start lying down on your back. Outstretch your legs, have your arms alongside of you, and you can just start in Shavasana, and I want you to put both of your hands on your abdomen. All right, so first just start to smooth your breathing out, inhales and exhales long and even through your nose. And then as you take every exhale, there's this space between that and the next inhale, where if you can kind of explore it, your lower abdomen lifts back towards your spine. And you'll feel this little sense of the pubic bone pulling up towards your navel. And it doesn't actually move your spine, it just creates some stability. So see if you can find that at the base of an exhale, and then continue to hold it as you breathe in and out through your nose evenly. And if you can't find it right now, that's all right. Just explore that. That's where it's easiest to access. And what that's going to do is help you lift away from the floor a little. So you can keep your eyes closed if you like, or you can open them up at this point. You're going to set up into happy baby. So grab the outer edges of your feet, pull your knees down, and instead of letting, especially if you're flexible in your hips, instead of letting your knees be really wide, have them narrow and the lower portion of your pelvis on the mat, almost the idea of dropping your tailbone down towards the floor for a second. And then your arms should be the insides of your knees. Press your arms into your knees and your knees into your arms somewhat, just so you feel those two portions of your body resisting against one another. And then your collarbone should feel wide as you press the knees into the arms, so without collapsing your chest too much. Now bring the soles of your feet together like this. Keep your knees where they are for the most part. And then instead of letting your feet go towards the front of the mat, start to pull your feet up towards the crown of your head some. Good. Now squeeze the knees and the arms together again. Put your arms on the inside there, Janice. There you go. Good. Now cross your right ankle over top of your left. Good. Hold that. Squeeze the knees and arms together again. Start to think about the crease of your hips. The muscles there, engage them to hold your legs in place and bring your hands behind your head. Now that your hands are behind your head, start to draw your low belly in so the lower back rounds a little bit more. Your knees will come closer to your outer shoulders. Take an inhale, and then as you exhale, lift your chest up off of the mat. Okay, do it without collapsing your collarbones. Now reach your arms through the center of your legs. Have them shoulder distance apart. Press your knees and arms together as you widen your collarbones. Now round your low back, that same idea, pubic bone pulling towards your navel to see if you can get the knees towards your outer shoulders a little more. Look very fancy. You're doing Bhujapidasana on your back. Take one more breath, and then hug your knees into your chest, and rock yourself up to seated. And once you're seated, you're going to come into a diamond-shaped Baddha Konasana. So it'll be feet about 2/3 of the way forward to straight legs. If that bugs your knees, you can pull your feet in a little closer. And then sit up tall, keep your sit bones anchored, and fold yourself forward. You can walk your arms forward, you can hold your feet, whatever you like. And then you can let your neck relax. But as you do that, find that little sense of the sit bones drawing underneath of you. Same thing, tailbone drawing towards your nose right here so that your hips stay heavy on the mat. And then you can round your back somewhat, but keep your collarbones pressed wide. So we're just going to continually repeat the shape over and over and over again so that when you get there, you'll be all warm and open and know what you're doing. Okay, now walk yourself back up, and you're going to come into Malasana and the full way to start. So you're going to bring your big toes together into a squat. If your heels don't touch the ground or you have sensitive Achilles tendons, you're going to put a blanket underneath your heels like Janice is going to. Okay, right, and then just put your hands shoulder distance in front of you. You let your heels lift up around your back, and then start to drop your chest down towards the floor. If your forearms hit the floor, that's fine. And then squeeze your knees and your arms together. You'll feel it's going to collapse your chest somewhat. I want you to draw the tailbone under, hold that rounding, knees and arms still pressing, but now widen your collarbone so you have a sense of width still remaining across your chest. And then neck can relax again. If this is enough, you can stay here. If you want to walk your hands back and grab your heels, you're welcome to. Lift your butt a little higher, Liz. There you go. And then drop your head further forward. Ah, brilliant. Good. And now from here, you're going to straighten your legs out, heel toe your feet to hip distance, and hang in a forward fold. And get rid of your blanket if you were using it. Okay, legs straight or bent, it particularly doesn't matter at this point. And grab your elbows. And there's nothing between your legs right now, but your heel should be behind your second toe. There's going to be a sense of your inner thighs spinning towards the back of your mat somewhat. When you do that, I want you to hug the tops of your legs together like they were pinching into your shoulders again. And then pretend your elbows were really heavy, like they weighed 1,000,000 pounds, and let that stretch the sides of your waist and your spine longer. And then bring your hands to the mat. And inhale, pull your chest forward and look up. Exhale, bring your hands to your hips and keep squeezing your hips together. And on an inhale, bring yourself all the way up to standing. Okay, step up to the front of your mat and bring your feet all the way together. And join your hands together in front of your heart. And inhale, reach your arms out to the side, stretch them up alongside your ears. Exhale, hinge at your hips and fold forward into Uttanasana. Inhale, stretch your chest away from your thighs and widen your collarbones. Exhale, step back into plank pose. Once you're in plank pose, take an inhale there, and then on your next exhale, push up and back into downward facing dog. So in this downward facing dog, firm your hands flat into the mat. It should feel like your whole hand, including all 10 of your fingers, is evenly grounded. If any part of it feels light at all, re-weight that portion. And then hold that as you roll your inner arms to the ceiling and squeeze your outer arms from your wrist through the outer shoulder in. Good. And then from here, inhale, come forward into plank pose and widen your collarbones through your arms as you do that same thing, pubic bone pulling towards your belly button. And then pull your shoulders beyond your wrists a couple of inches. And on an exhale, lower halfway into chaturanga, keeping your elbows in and your legs really straight. Good. Inhale, push straight up into plank pose. And exhale, pull your thighs back, downward facing dog. Let's do that again. Inhale, come forward to plank. Weight the hand evenly. Chest forward. Exhale, chaturanga, belly in. Good. Inhale, plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. One more time. Inhale, glide forward. Spin the inner thighs up. Draw your belly in. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, push up. Exhale, pull back. And then from here, look forward. Put a little extra weight in your fingertips and hug your forearms together and step or hop your feet up in between your hands. Inhale, chest wide through your arms again. And then exhale, fold just at your hips. Keep your spine long. Inhale, come up to standing and reach your arms alongside your ears. And then exhale, join your hands together at heart center. Sorry, Namaskar A. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, Uttanasana and fold forward. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Look forward. Keep your gaze here and step or hop into Chaturanga. Plant the hands evenly and keep your collarbones wide. And inhale into a back bend. Push the tops of your shoulders straight back. And then exhale, roll over your toes into downward facing dog. So even here in down dog, you can explore that idea of the low belly lifting even more. As you roll your inner thighs back and hug your legs together like you were doing in Uttanasana, there's a sense of the low belly lifting. You're not intentionally drawing it in, it just happens. And then once that happens, you can hold on to that. It'll make your hop a little lighter. So look forward, hug the arms together, and step or hop. Try to keep the belly drawn in. Inhale, chest up, and then exhale, fold. Inhale to come to standing, arms up again. And exhale, join your hands together in front of your heart. Again, inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. And then exhale, roll up and over your toes into downward facing dog. A little quicker this time. Look forward. Walk or hop your feet back to the front. Feet together. Inhale, chest up. Exhale, release your head down. Inhale, come up to standing, arms up. And exhale, join your hands together. Right, this time with some other stuff. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, look forward. And then exhale your left leg back into a high lunge. Okay, once you're in a high lunge, if you're modifying, if this is a big stretch for you already, you're going to drop your left knee down and back. Both of you are going to move your right foot over to the right 2 inches. Keep the knee facing straight ahead. Okay, you're going to drop down to your elbows. If you can't get both elbows on the floor, Janice is going to modify and put blocks underneath of your elbows. They can be really high. Okay, keep planting into your right heel. If your left leg is up off of the mat, push the thigh straight. And then widen your collarbones, but a little bit of drawing the tailbone under again. Okay, and then for a couple of breaths, as long as you have absolutely no issues with your knees, flex your right ankle so you're standing on the heel, and let the knee fall open to the side, just a drop. Good. Janice has more than a drop going on. That's like a river. Hold that in a little closer. It's like the Nile over there. Is that a wide one? I don't know. The Congo. All right, now hug your knee back in. Good. Come back up off of your elbows. From here, step your back foot forward to meet your front foot. Inhale, chest up and wide. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale up to standing. And then exhale, join your hands together. Right, again, inhale, arms out. We'll do the second side. Exhale, Uttanasana, fold. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, look forward. And then exhale, right leg back, high lunge. Okay, drop the knee down and back if you're going to drop it, and then move your left foot to the left 2 inches to accommodate your shoulder. Come down to your elbows, blocks under your elbows, or on the floor. Okay, so once you're down, there's this huge desire to look back at your back foot, but in any arm balance, if you look down at the ground or you look behind you, you will fall on your head. So just keep that in mind here. So look at your fingers. There'll be a little rounding in the low back, widening the collarbones, and then flex your left ankle, and let your left knee move to the side just a little bit. It doesn't have to go tremendously far because you're going to hug it into your shoulder later. Good. Lovely. That's a much narrower river. That's like a drying up river. That's so good. Right. Come back up onto your hands. This time, step back into plank. And then from here, exhale and lower halfway into chaturanga. And take a vinyasa, inhale, up dog. And exhale, end up back in downward facing dog. Okay. Inhale, come forward into plank pose and just land with your shoulders over your wrists and stay there. Pick your right foot up just an inch off of the mat. As you exhale, bring your right knee to the back of your right tricep. So let the inner edge of the knee touch the outer edge of your arm. Draw your tailbone under without letting your back leg bend at all. Widen your collarbones and see if you can pull the belly in a little more to get the knee a little higher. And then start to bring your right foot just towards the midline of the mat, like you were doing crow pose on the right side. Good. Now round your back a lot and pull your knee into your nose. See if you can glue the thigh all the way up on your chest. Step your foot through to your hands. Spin your back heel flat. Line up heel to arch here. Okay, bring your right hand to the inside. If you're modifying, put a block underneath your right hand to keep length in your side body. And then turn open and reach your left arm up into side angle, hand on the inside. Okay. So back leg, press it, outer edge of the foot, and get your knee straight. You don't need to pay particular attention beyond that to the back leg right here. Okay, get your right hip to move towards the center line of your mat and push the knee and the shoulder together, paying attention to keep your right collarbone wide. Right, now loop your left arm behind your back and just half bind. It doesn't have to be the full thing. That same thing. Back leg stays straight. There's a little drawing under of the tailbone or pubic bone up towards your navel. But then that idea of widening the collarbones as you lean back into your inner knee. Good, Janice. Good, Liz. I was telling Liz earlier, she's very brave for wearing all white and looking good in it too. Good. Okay, top arm up. Inhale, come up into warrior 2. And exhale your hands to the mat and take a vinyasa back to downward facing dog again. You can always skip vinyasas. So it's an arm balance class. If your arms get tired, you won't be able to approach the arm balance. So if too many chaturangas are kind of out of reach today, you don't have to do all of them. Just go into down dog. Okay, inhale forward to plank pose. Elbows stay straight, shoulders stay square to the front of your mat. Now just pick your left foot up, and as you exhale, draw the belly in like you did at the beginning and bring the knee to your outer arm. Hug those 2 points together, keeping your collarbones wide. Draw the tailbone under, and then by pressing into the floor, see if you can climb the knee higher. Then bring the foot just towards the midline, like you keep the knee on the arm, Liz. Just bring the foot in a little. There you go. You're dying for me to say, now bring your knee to your nose, so do it. Round your back, push the floor down, and then step your foot through. Spin your back heel flat, line up heel to arch. Hand to the inside, block underneath of it if you need it, and then turn open and reach your top arm up. So if it feels like you're collapsing or it's difficult to get your chest open, put a block under your hand. And then press the back leg straight and have the pinky edge weighted a little bit more heavily than the inner. And then once you have that, that same idea, it's such a subtle thing, but the tailbone comes under slightly, and then you have to recreate the back bend in your upper back as you lean your shoulder into your inner knee. Now take the top arm and bind it. And then once you do that, sternum forward, collarbones wide. All you're doing there is pushing the upper back in. Especially if you're bendy, the tailbone comes under, the hip moves to the center line of your mat, so your hip and knee all face the same direction as your front toes, which is straight ahead, PS. Right? And then take your top arm up, reach it up. Inhale up to warrior two. Exhale your hands down to the mat and go through a vinyasa again to downward facing dog. All right, here we go. Arm balance numero uno. So look forward at your hands, hop your feet to meet your hands, big toes touch once you get there if you need to move them together, and then squat down like you did at the very beginning in Malasana. So big toes touching, knees out to your outer shoulders, round your back, and lean forward. Okay, now bring your hands back as close to your feet as you can get them, shoulder distance apart, and you can let your elbows go out to the sides to do that. But now, once you have that, but turn your hands the normal way. There, just let your elbows bow. Okay, yeah. Now pinch your knees into your outer shoulders as much as you can and round your lower back by drawing the belly in. Now lift your tush enough to hug the elbows in and shift the weight into your hands. Good. Now once you have that, round the lower back, resist the knees and arms together, and pull your heels up towards your sit bones as you shift into crow. Okay, so playing just here on the edge might be enough at the beginning. If you're kind of old hat at it, you'll come into it. Now, as you do this today, if you've been doing it for a while, I want you to think belly in, low belly in, low belly in. Let that drop the tush lower and lower as you try to straighten the arms and lift the chest higher and higher. Good. Now push the floor down really strongly, and on your exhale, either step your feet back or shoot your legs back into chaturanga. Really good. Right, so you just play on the edge there for a while. Take a vinyasa, end up back in down dog. Good. Walk your hands all the way back until they meet your feet. Put a little bit of a bend in your knees. Reach around the backs of your legs and then loop your arms through the center of your shins, putting your left hand on your right shin, right hand on your left shin. Okay, and then once you have this, if your chest is not touching your inner thighs, bend your knees a lot until your torso is touching your inner legs, so outer ribs, inner thighs. And then if you can start to straighten your legs, fine. But where we're going, it doesn't particularly matter. And let your neck feel relaxed. Doing arm balances is a lot of work on your shoulders and your upper back, so letting go right here before we do a little more core work and then approach the arm balance. All right. Undo your arms. Inhale, pull your chest forward and look up. And then exhale, walk out into downward facing dog. And then look forward and hop all the way through to seated. Okay, once you're seated, put your feet on the floor, put them all the way together, and then grab the backs of your thighs and sit up tall. We'll wait for Liz. All right, now shift back just enough to get your shins off, or feet off the floor and your shins parallel with the floor. So Navasana with bent knees. Doesn't need to be straight today. Okay, and then once you have that, push your upper back into your chest, get the collarbones wide, and reach your arms out. Good, right? Take an inhale here. As you exhale, lower yourself halfway down into Ardha Navasana. So draw the belly in, hover just the shoulder heads and your feet an inch off of the floor. Good. Now lead with your chest, and on an inhale, come back up into Navasana. Keep your big toes touching. Separate your knees as wide as your shoulders. Good. Flex your wrists like you're doing crow on the wall in front of you, and try to draw your knees as close to your outer shoulders as you can. Draw the belly in and round your back, and then resist the arms and knees together. Good. Now, reset, bring your knees together, separate your arms again. Exhale, lower halfway down into Ardha Navasana. Good. Now, once you're in Ardha Navasana, do the same thing. Pull your knees in towards your chest. Keep your big toes touching. Widen the knees out to your shoulders. Now, reach your arms through the center of your legs and use your belly to draw the knees closer and closer to your outer shoulders like you did at the beginning. Good. And then bring your arms out. Stretch your legs back out to Ardha Navasana. Inhale, come up into Navasana, and then cross your ankles and pick up, jump back, or press yourself back into plank and take a vinyasa to down dog. Good. All right, you already did all the work. So this is just putting all the pieces together. Don't worry if it doesn't happen today. This takes a little bit of time, but it is one of those things once your hips are open that you can approach flying away from the floor a little. So look forward, hop your feet around your hands to the outsides. So once you're here, bend your knees a lot until your chest moves all the way through your inner thighs, and then grab your ankles. Okay, once you have that, you're gonna go slowly. Don't go anywhere yet, Liz. Right? So start to wiggle your right foot into the center of your mat, and then wiggle your right shoulder underneath the inner knee. Once you have that, push the knee and the outer shoulder together. Then do the other leg. Wiggle the left foot in a little, wiggle the shoulder under, pinch the inner thighs together. Keep doing that until your feet won't go any closer. And then if that's it, stay there and relax your neck and breathe. Your knees do not need to get straight. And then if you're going on, Janice is going to stay here. Liz is going to put her hands down shoulder distance apart. Your heel of your hand won't hit yet. Shift the weight back until the heel of your hand lands. Keep your elbows bent a little, hug them in like chaturanga, and sit your butt back on your elbows. Right? Once you do that, your feet get light on their own. Cross your ankles like you did at the beginning. Now push the floor down, round your low back, resist your arms and knees together to keep your collarbones wide. And then you can start to stretch your heels forward and round your lower back a little more. Gorgeous, Liz, good. And then to undo it, drop your butt, bend your knees, put your feet on the floor, and hang forward, let go, grab your elbows. Really good, okay? So it takes time doing that arm balance. We're gonna repeat it one more time just because it's fun, and why not? You might as well get 2 shots at it. And if you fall, the worst thing that happens is you fall backwards and do like a back roll, and then you laugh at yourself, and you get back up and you do it again, because that's how it goes when you're learning something new, and that's how it's supposed to go, so don't worry. Okay, take 2, here we go. So separate your feet wide enough to get your shoulders through your inner thighs, bend your knees a lot, and make that happen, shoulders through. Then grab your ankles and do the wiggle. Foot comes in, shoulder goes under, pinch. Foot comes in, shoulder goes under, pinch. Keep doing it, doing it, doing it. Then maybe hands down, shoulder distance. Shift back, heel of the hand's gonna land. Elbows bend, use it as a shelf. Feet get light. Cross them the other way if you like, and then push the floor down, reach your heels forward, round your low back, resist the arms into the inner knees. Good. And then smile. And sing happy birthday. I'm just kidding. Right now, put your feet on the floor and fold forward and grab your elbows again. I should have said and jump. That would have been really funny. I missed my opportunity for the good joke. All right, now from here, hands down to the mat. Right, step back into plank or just step back into down dog. If you want a full vinyasa once you get to plank, you can take it. Now we will undo what we just did. All right, so look forward and hop all the way through, lie down on your back, and grab the block you had at the beginning. You're gonna set up into a supported bridge, so knees bent, feet hip distance. Put your feet an inch closer to the front of the mat than your knees. Right? Then push your feet down, lift your hips up, and set the block underneath your sacrum, which is the portion of your spine that's fused in between the sides of your pelvis. Do you like it that way, Liz? Sideways? Better? It doesn't matter. Okay, I'm good with it. And your block can be high, like Liz's. I think Janice's is high too. It can be a lot lower too. It can be on the very lowest notch. You spend a lot of time rounding your back in that sequence of poses, so opening the front of your body back out so you hunch forward. Right, now, if you have knee stuff or ankle stuff, or it's difficult to point your toes all the way, just stay here. Otherwise, you're gonna pick up your right foot, grab the top of the foot, point your toe like a ballerina, like Baryshnikov, and then tuck the toes under and bring them back towards your shoulder. 1 foot at a time, right? It'll just stretch the psoas out, stretch your quad out, which were some of the things you were using to do that pose. If this is in your low back now, then definitely don't do this. Just be in regular supported bridge, fine. Right, and then the knees, they hug together so that they're still stacked over top of your ankles. That's a couple of breaths. So approaching any arm balance, you have to be really proud of yourself for even trying to do it. Trying to do new things is hard. It's work. It's vulnerable. It's risky. But the rewards are totally worth it as long as you stay the course and don't mind falling down a whole bunch of times. Nobody learned anything the first time they tried it, unless they were like gifted and a savant. I can definitely tell you I did not learn how to do that the first time. Right, now let go of that foot and do the other foot. So right foot plants, left foot, point the toes, draw them under. And then reach for your knee. You can close your eyes in this last little bit if you would like. When you close your eyes on your yoga mat, if your mind wanders, especially off of the accomplishments that you just had on the mat, then keep your eyes open. You can hold them on a spot and just fuzz them out. But once they're closed, pick something in your body or your breath so that you stay on your mat. And we say that all the time, but really you're just trying to have your mind be a little quieter, like your body might feel now. And then undo that leg. Lift your hips up and get rid of your block. And set up into happy baby again, like you did at the beginning. Start with your pelvis flat on the mat. And then once your pelvis is flat, if you want to do the rounded one, fine. If you want to do the flat back one, that's fine too. And we'll just do a couple of stretches for your hips and your hamstrings before Shavasana. Give your knees a squeeze. Rock all the way up to seated. Extend your legs in front of you. And then feet can be all the way together, or you can have them hip distance. I really like my feet hip distance, but that's just me. So inhale, sit up nice and tall, and you can reach your arms up for a little added height in your side body. And exhale, fold forward. And you can grab your outer shins, you can grab your outer feet. Anything where you can keep your legs and the back, your sit bones, sorry, not the back of anything, just your sit bones grounded, and then find that sense of length and width in your chest. You can relax your neck fully and let your eyes close. And again, bring your mind to breathing or your body or something that is in this moment right here. And the only things that are really here are your body, your alignment, your breath. And then inhale, sit yourself all the way up. Exhale to lie down on your back again. Cross your right thigh all the way over your left once you get there. And then hug that in. And if that's already stretching your hips, you'll stay. If it's not, flex your ankles, grab your feet with your hands, spin your feet out towards your shoulders, and then you can pull them down towards your shoulders as well. Right? So do it without letting your ankles sickle. So that'll mean pulling your pinky toes back to your outer knees. Your feet should look like feet that could stand if you were in the middle of the room. And then do the other leg. Put the other thigh on top and either just hug that or reach down with flexed ankles, grab your feet and spiral them out and pull them down. And then always in hip openers, you're making sure that your knees aren't the thing that's doing the work. That should be a stretch in the outer hips. If it's a stretch in your knees, go back to just hugging your knees. And soft with your breath now, but pay attention to it. And then hug your knees into your chest. Give them a final squeeze until you feel ready to set up into Shavasana. And then stretch your legs out. Separate your arms. Same place you started. Eyes closed. And then once your body's still, it's hard. It's sometimes very hard just to even hold your body still, but try. That's the thing that you definitely can control. So hold that still. And then your mind is something that's really hard to hold still. So instead of worrying about it not being still, put your attention on your breathing. It's going to return back to however it normally happens, the rhythm that it owns on its own. The first few breaths, it's going to feel like you're controlling it still. Just observe and slowly let it happen. Once it returns back to its normal pace, then try to hold your attention there. And beyond that, you have nothing to do here but rest with a little sense of pride and congratulations that you tried. So take rest and enjoy.